start with Panic, since that is the least beloved?
It's also the shortest.
For me, it's got 3 albums on it.
Yeah, how many albums we've listened to.
Okay, so let's tell the podcast what we're doing.
Today we're ranking our favorite bands' albums. Not against one another, but against themselves, their own audiography. That's a word, right?
Discography?
Discography.
Those your toes?
That's my toes.
We are ranking our 3 favorite bands. I don't know if I'd say there are 3 favorite bands.
I just said this.
Their discography against themselves.
Yeah, that's what I said.
We're starting with Panic at the Disco.
We're doing Panic! At the Disco, Paramore, and Fall Out Boy.
Yes. So, for Panic at the Disco, the albums that we have listened to, because that's the other thing, is we're not doing all the albums, just the ones that we've listened to, are A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, Pretty Odd, Vices and Virtues, Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die.
What's that?
Miss Jackson.
Is that the most recent after Vices and Virtues?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was something else
Nicotine is on that album?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck.
There was something else that I noticed, too, when I was compiling this list, is that, okay, so Fever You Can't Sweat Out was 2005. Pretty Odd was 2008. Those 3 years, good God, that was a long wait between albums. Yeah. And then 3 years till Vices and Virtues. And then 2 years until Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die.
And he's been pumping albums since then.
Yeah.
Since he dropped all his bandmates, he's just been pumping out albums.
Somebody stop him.
The fucking alien man he is.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, between Pretty Odd and Vices and Virtues is when they split the first time. So it's Spencer and Brendan, and then Dawn and Ryan left.
Yes.
And then
that's why Vices and Virtues fucks.
And then after Vices and Virtues, I think that's when Spencer had medical issues.
Oh,
he had addiction issues. I was trying to put it nicely. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
So he pretty much left, and so I think from then on it's been just
Brendan Urie.
Dallin Weeks.
That you made that up.
No, I did not. I think he's problematic or something. I don't know.
I think Brendan Urie is also problematic.
Oh yeah.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
Didn't he
officially?
I think so. I think. So I heard from a friend who heard from TikTok that he has sexual allegations against him.
Ah!
Yeah. So
sorry,
just.
I should have prepared for you.
Sorry. So just as a preface for this podcast, we're not promoting Panic! At the Disco.
Oh, not Panic! At the Disco. Sorry.
The other two are fine. But Panic! At the Disco in particular, we're not necessarily promoting. This is just what we grew up listening to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I guess we could, just real quick, describe each album or, go through and talk about each album. I mean, when you say grow up, you literally mean grow up.
No, I grew up with this.
You were 6 when this album came out.
Yeah.
But I remember when, alright, since Not Tragedies, I remember, the first time I saw the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. And what else? We've seen Panic.
Me look like a fish with a top hat on.
Yeah, he did.
Running around a wedding, whatever the fuck was going on in that.
There's fucking clowns here. Nobody knows what's going on.
No.
There were so many clowns in the music videos for this album specifically.
I love you.
I love me too.
Yeah, I can tell you're getting married.
Build God, Then We'll Talk. The whole video.
Yeah,
that's the one. Yes, that one's the mime.
Mimes.
It's the mime who does a pantomime sex show.
But also the fish bowls, right? Or is that? But
is lying is the most fun a girl can have without taking.
Can we quickly identify just the songs that are about sex workers and just in this album?
So that was another thing I definitely wanted to. But okay, wait.
So that's part of my theory that Brendan Urie is an alien, actually. I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown for the podcast because we're on the subject. So his vocal range is just abnormal. Nobody can sing that high and that low together, except for Hayley Williams, but she's just a goddess, so that's allowed.
Can she even go that low?
Well, she can't go as low as a man, but she can go lower than I can sing.
But what I'm saying is that, okay, yeah, he can go low because he's a man, but he can also go as high as a woman.
Yeah, I know, and that's like a guy thing, though, that men can do that.
Are you sure it's a guy thing, or is it an alien thing?
Oh, yeah, good point. So vocal range is just completely ridiculous and way too.
But he couldn't do a whistle tone.
He's so close in Saturday Night.
Oh.
It's like very close to. Wouldn't you say?
I would
Like,
say that it's like has a similar quality to whistle tone. But it's not. I don't think it would count as whistle tone.
Yeah.
But I can't do whistle tone. I can't do whistle tone. So that's my point. That's my first point. My second point is that there is an abnormal amount of songs about sex workers, which there's nothing wrong with necessarily, except for the fact that maybe he might have sexual allegations against him, which is not great. But it's just like my theory is that like when he was being trained to pose as a human on Earth, the unit with like relationships and women somehow got swapped with the unit on sex work. And so he came to Earth with this flawed knowledge that sex work is just far more prevalent in the general society than it actually is. And the third reason is that his head is just too big. Just too fucking big.
It's too large for his body.
It was definitely, like, when I first heard this album, it was definitely, I was like, I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, good, because I wanted to go back to what Emily was saying about the amount of references to sex workers
That's what I was gonna
in
say.
Brendan Urie's lyrics.
Yeah.
So here's the really funny thing. So the funny thing about this album specifically is that Brendan Urie is 3 years older than me, which means that this album came out when he was 18 years old.
And from Nevada?
Utah.
He's from Utah.
Yeah,
no, are you sure?
I thought he was from
I'm
Las
sure.
Vegas.
Yeah, no, he's I think he was born. I think we've googled this multiple times. He was born in Utah as a Mormon, right? Moved to Las Vegas at some point in his childhood. I think like 6 or 7.
Okay, I believe you.
I don't know if he like spent all of his childhood as a Mormon. Yeah, Katie's.
Oh,
nodding.
I'm sorry. I'm just listening.
Oh, she's just.
I'm just being an active listener.
Okay, she's just okay. I don't know what that is because I live with Shelby and she stares at me.
What are you, a man?
I'm just not listening.
Shelby's never listened to a thing that I said. Unless I say it like 3 times in a row and then she tells me to shut up. Anyway, yes. So, but it's better if you do.
Okay, yeah. So the reason that I called that out specifically is because this is the one where he's talking about like a strip joint veteran who's drinking at the bar, and he's saying like, I'm praying for love and a lap dance, and it's just like, bro, you were 18 when this album came out, which means you were probably 17 when you wrote it.
Did he even write it?
No, Orion wrote the lyrics.
Oh.
Either way.
How old is he?
They're the same age. They were met in high school. I'm pretty sure.
I guess what I'm saying is that, like, when I was 15, this was, like, so, like, oh my god, this is so cool. This is so, like, edgy and wow and amazing. And it didn't even occur to me that, like, these people are dweebs. Like, they're way too young to have any of these life experiences.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing to me, and that's why I really think that he's not human, is that, like, first of all, basically too young to have personally experienced, like, that amount of sex work by just age 18. And then 2008, 3 years later, I don't know if there's any songs on Pretty Odd about sex work, because Pretty Odd is basically the Beatles. Yeah. But Vices and Virtues also features songs about sex work, and at that point he did famous for what, like, 5 years?
6.
Like, if you're famous, bro, you don't need to pay. Like, why are you paying? Just find a fan.
That's a good point.
Like, I don't understand how much experience you claim to have had with sex workers. I don't get it. Why? Like, why?
And, like, his newer stuff, too, still.
So much.
It's still, like, what was it? It wasn't High Hopes, it was the other one. I was listening to it, and I was like, oh, it's still here. Why is it still here? Like, why is it so...
Still prevalent.
Prevalent, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Pretty Odd.
Wait, you guys don't let me talk.
Sorry.
Well, luckily that was what I was gonna say anyway, and then you started saying it, so it's fine. But I definitely think that, you know why? It's because I can't form a sentence.
We picked a really good day to do a podcast.
Same situation. Like, I really thought, I was like, it's so scandalous. And you know, I also think, like, if we sat down and listened to the lyrics, that there would be other stuff too. There's a lot of religious, like, imagery and commentary, and there's also, like, drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of it is, like, I don't know, almost, like, Catholic themed and stuff. And I'm not saying that they don't know about any of those things, but I'm just thinking about being, from their perspective, like a bunch of 17-year-olds who listen to Blink-182 and do covers, trying to break out onto the scene as one does, that is already being established. And it's kind of basically like a fast track, really, is what I think.
Mm.
Like they're like, what is the edgiest thing we can write about? Let's write about that, and then
sex, drugs, and religion.
Panic at the Disco has always been about what can we get away with because we are so fucking confident.
Interesting take.
Yeah, that's another thing that Brennan Urie has: inhuman confidence. I mean, he did
Let me just hit this high
backflips
C
on
note
stage.
in my
Yeah.
pop song. Yeah, I'd like to talk about it musically too, because for me, this was the beginning of like pop punk goes techno.
Yeah, it's like dance music.
Yes, yeah, like Time to Dance. It has that like the background like boop 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 boop.
And intermission, especially.
Yeah.
What's the one about the woman who is like a virgin and she's going into sex work? Which one is
Bill
that?
God Them Will Talk.
Okay, yeah.
And that's the one that
So that's
samples.
That's at least, and that one samples.
Which I think is so interesting, like, creatively.
What is it called?
For a pop punk band's first album to sample fucking
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. Like, what?
Wasn't Brendan a theater nerd? Wasn't he? Like,
Probably. Well, he was on Broadway. He was in Kinky Boots.
Like, I think he was in musical theater.
Say that again.
Kinky Boots.
As a teenager. Like, I remember hearing that at some point.
Interesting. Yeah, see, I don't know that much about any of the background of any of these people.
Yeah, but okay, so anyway, first album, age like 17, 18, already 2 songs about sex work. And like, there's another song that's just straight up about sex.
Yeah.
Not necessarily sex work.
Yeah. That's number 7, yeah. Lying is the most fun a girl can have without taking her clothes off.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Anyway, interesting album, interesting video, like, a huge splash.
Yeah.
Like, just a huge splash. When I went to my first Fall Out Boy concert, which was in 2006, they played the music video for Alright, Sin's Not Tragedies, like, as a pre-show before the opener, and people went fucking nuts for it. It was hilarious.
It definitely was a cultural reset, and like, it changed the, like, scene as it is known, which, you know.
Yeah.
I'm 26, and I'm finally starting to understand what that means when people reference the scene.
Oh, yeah.
The scene, yeah.
Okay, Pretty
I'm
Odd.
like, yeah, I know what that is. I'm just kidding.
I was like 8.
I barely know what it is.
You were like 8 or 9. I associate this a lot with like the summer after I graduated high school. And I'm gonna be honest, it was a pretty big letdown for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a Beatles fan.
No.
I'm not really a folk fan. It depends on the folk.
Yeah.
So, some of the songs on this album I really like. I like That Green Gentleman. I love Mad as Rabbits.
I love Northern Downpour.
Love Northern Downpour. But a lot of the other ones I'm just like, I don't care.
Friend in the Afternoon is good.
Yeah.
Little overplayed.
Yeah.
Because it was a single. It was the only single on the album that was anywhere near their previous album.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to look at like ratings for all of these albums because I mean, basically all the albums we're talking about all probably went platinum. Like they're all extremely popular albums, but in terms of like how they perform against one another, it would be interesting.
And I feel like Pretty Odd is like kind of less talked about. At least in the circles that I run in, which is like I live in an echo chamber. Like I kind of forget that Pretty Odd exists a lot of the time.
I don't listen to any song from Pretty Odd. Last night I was listening to a Panic at the Disco playlist, and I didn't listen to a single song.
Yeah, I think I have a few songs on like my like sad playlist, which is like Northern Downpour and something else.
I always think of Northern Downpour as a happy song.
I don't.
Interesting.
I really liked this album when it came out, but it may have been a factor of like not wanting to like admit to myself that I didn't like their album because I really liked Panic at the Disco. But I don't know, I'm not like against more calm music, but it's definitely no Fever You Can't Sweat Out. Like it's just not.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say I certainly don't hate it.
I'm definitely seeing like 5 or 6 songs that I haven't listened to since 2009.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what they are.
Yeah, what is Pas de Cheval?
I don't know.
Pas de Cheval? I don't know.
The fuck is that?
Behind the Sea? Oh my god, I remember Behind the Sea.
Which one's that?
Behind the Sea. I don't know. It sounds like the Beatles. I don't know how else.
I was listening to my Panic at the Disco album playlist the other day, and I heard a song that was from this album, and I don't remember what the name was, but it was good. It was about, fuck, I don't remember. Never mind.
I can't remember what Behind the Sea was. I might have to look it up.
Behind the Sea.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of
sure.
like Sweeney Todd, which is that's beside
By the sea.
By the Sea. I remember She Had the World. That's a good one.
The lyrics are like lacking, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's the other thing is that I feel like this one, the lyrics, because they weren't relying so much on like the edgy stuff, the lyrics got a lot more abstract in this one.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that green gentleman? What is that? What is that? What is a green gentleman? Who?
How can it be 9 in the afternoon? I just don't get it.
Well, 9 is technically afternoon.
So quirky.
It's always afternoon.
Your afternoon.
What song was I looking up? Behind the Sea.
It's like a chord. I can't sing it by myself. Behind the sea. But it's like sea.
Oh, here's the other thing we have to talk about. Is that Brendan was not always the lead vocalist on the
Oh, yeah!
And
So
that is a
Ryan
real
Ross
problem.
vocalized a lot in this album, and he sucks! He just sucks!
Ryan Ross had a real Josh Farrell moment on this
He-
album.
He just...
What's that song from After Laughter? I mean, we're gonna get to it, but that song where it's just like, it's all instrumental.
Okay, don't talk bad about No
Okay,
Friend.
I'm sorry.
Sarah hadn't been in the band for several years when that song was released.
Yeah, you're right. Wait, what are you referencing then?
I will tell you
When we get there.
all about No Friend when we get there and why it's a good song. I'm just talking about just the ego. Like, just
Oh,
how-
right,
just,
yeah,
like,
yes.
You're taking up way too much space as the lead singer of this band, who leads us through every single concert, and I would like to take up more space, even though I'm awkward. I'm just an awkward brunette white boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
Brendan Urie, I guess.
But Brendan Urie actually has a good voice.
Yeah.
And can sing.
Ryan Ross sucks.
He sucks.
He sucks.
He sounds like the Beatles, but bad.
So bad.
And I don't even like the Beatles.
No.
Like, he just can't sing.
No. Okay, what's really insane is that, like, here's another thing, and I know this is just due to, like, replay value, but, like, I know that I kind of flubbed lyrics previously on A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, but there's so many that are so fast
Oh, yeah.
that you're just, and I still remember them, like,
No, yeah.
15 years after the
What's
album
the
came out.
one with the, when you're in Black Flags with the Swingers
Swinging
waiting
on
on
five
five
pinstripes,
pinstripes? Wow. I had that whole intro down pat, and I could sing it, like, 3 times faster than Brendan.
Yes.
At age, like, 10.
Like, yeah, but I'm looking at the lyrics from Behind the Sea, and I literally don't remember any of this.
What are they?
Let me see if I can go back. A daydream spills from my corked head, breaks free of my wooden neck, left a nod over sleeping waves like bobbing bait for baiting cod. Floating flocks of candled swans slowly drift across wax ponds. The men all played along to marching drums, and boy did they have fun behind the sea. They sang, hey.
We'll play along to marching drums, and boy did they have fun.
It sounds
I
like
don't know.
Kimya Dawson.
It sounds like every other song.
Just
on this
play
album.
I'll just play it, and then we'll just cut it out.
Okay.
And then we'll give our beautiful rendition.
That's
Okay.
definitely,
This must have been a song that I always skipped regardless of when I was listening
Yeah.
to the
It's
album.
definitely like songs to fall asleep to. For the most part.
ASMR.
Yeah.
Pop punk goes ASMR.
That's a really good description of this album.
Oh, fuck, because it's all Ryan! Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all right.
It's also, like, so much slower than I thought it was.
You're
making me listen to this more than I want to listen to it. Now you're talking over it.
Yeah.
Brendan is harmonizing.
I feel like...
Which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That's like taking. Okay, I'm sorry. I love love chorus members. They're great and everything. That's like taking a fucking chorus member, plopping them in the lead, and making the lead sing backup.
What do you think this is? Phantom of the Opera? I feel like at age 21, I don't know. I'm really, this is just pure speculation. So I won't go there. I guess what I'll say is that I'm glad Ryan Ross left the band.
Yeah.
Because this album kind of sucks. Some of it's okay. A lot of it sucks.
Shall I just put it down as the worst?
I mean, for Panic, yeah. I would say
Are there
so.
other 4?
Yes. On the list.
For me personally, I probably don't care. Probably care a little bit less about the last one.
Okay.
But I don't really know.
You've been outnumbered.
It's been a while since I listened to any of it. Honestly, it's mostly just I haven't listened to it.
Yeah.
So
we'll get there.
But it's been a really long time since I listened to Pretty Odd, and I would really never put it on just.
I know. What would you even?
But I wouldn't do that with any of these albums except for Fever You Can't Sweat Out.
Anyway, next album.
No, valid. Get input. Okay, Vices and Virtues, 2011. This was so much a return to form.
Yeah.
I loved this album.
Yeah.
It came out when I was in junior college, and I listened to it obsessively. A lot of good singles. Some skippables.
Yeah.
Honestly? I usually skip Trade Mistakes.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, I do kind of like that song, though.
I skipped Hurricane, I think.
Ready to Go was so overplayed.
Well, it was so repetitive.
It was in that fucking Coke commercial. We would go to the movies, and you'd get fucking Panic at the Disco in a Coca-Cola commercial, and I was like, kill me.
But they cut out Brendan. It's just the instrumental, I think.
Sometimes they would have, like, Ready to Go,
Yeah,
and that was it.
I know how it
and then it
goes.
would stop. Fuck you! Didn't you say that you thought it would be funny if we were singing as we go?
Probably.
I feel like all of
I
it.
pretty much all know.
We should all be singing all of it.
Alright, okay. I fuck with Sarah Smiles and Always.
I really Sarah Smiles. I'm like about. I don't know. It's good. It's a good song.
I like it a lot.
Which one's Always? It's not. No, The Calendar. The Calendar is possibly like my second favorite song on this album.
Yeah.
But my first favorite song that is possibly my favorite Panic at the Disco song of all time is Nearly Witches.
Oh, really?
I love that song.
I don't know how the French goes.
This
This is an instance in which you're allowed to not know the lyrics.
Thank you!
Because I don't know them, because
I know the beginning where the teacher's like, kids, listen, I'm up here for a reason. Okay, watch me. Watch my fingers. Ready?
That's how conductors are! The choir's like, the conductor's like, fucking look at my hand!
I think it's so passive aggressive that they left that in there too. Like, we're gonna keep the teacher like conducting them in there. So,
anyway,
yeah.
Always is.
I almost did that in sign language for a class, but
I think it was an ASL club and I was going to perform it, but it might have been because you had already performed it and you could teach it to me.
I did not perform it because some of the lyrics were too abstract and too difficult.
Yeah.
So I went with You'll Shoot Your Eye Out. But I remember some of it, like light blinking at the end of a road.
It's a
Link
good
back to let me know. I don't remember. It's a really good song.
Memories is also good. I feel like that one's a little underrated.
That one is the one that has like a very like story verse. It's like she was young and independent, and he was like
unrequited
just a small town girl,
pretty much.
living in a
But
lonely
like
world.
less of a bop.
What is Hurricane? What's that one?
I tend to skip it, but still way better than most of the songs on Pretty Odd.
That's how I feel about Trade Mistakes, because I like Trade Mistakes, but I usually would skip it.
Don't let.
I love that song when it came out. I really liked this album when it first came out.
Is that a single? I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. I thought the only single was Ballad of Mona Lisa. But
And Ready to Go, of course.
I think this album was as successful.
I don't think it was. Yeah.
Ballad of Mona Lisa, yet again, a song about a sex worker. We've returned.
But such a bop.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by return to form.
That's the thing, is that, like, a lot of this music, a lot of Panic at the Disco is, like, women suck, they're whores. But, like, it's really good music.
Yeah.
So it's, like, that between trying to decide whether your love of the music outweighs your love of feminism.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like, I really feel like, I don't know, I guess I don't know them and I don't know their lives, but I really feel like they're just following in footsteps of other people. Like, I don't think that they're the defining band that did this. I think it was already kind of an accepted part of, like, the genre that they were coming into. I think it was mostly, like, they did it to be accepted into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, because it was expected. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean that they're responsible at all.
Yeah.
I just think it's really interesting that is such an essential part of, like, the identity of a pop punk band in the 2000s.
Yeah. And I would... Go ahead.
Because even Fall Out Boy has lyrics that are like that, and I don't know, I think of them as very, like, mild people.
Yeah,
really.
I would say that arguably, maybe just because I've heard more of their music, and they, like, I don't know if they have more music, but, like, I've heard more of their music. there are historically a lot of Fall Out Boy songs that are like have like violence towards women in them, whereas I don't really see a lot of violence towards women in these songs. And there are plenty of songs that are like, women are great and I love women, but also like you just need to take into account the fact that there is an extraordinary amount of songs about sex work, and they're not always painting women in the best light.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just more think of it as, like, a joke. I mean, I know that it can be harmful, so it's not necessarily, like, victimless, but to me, it's just, like, that, it's funny that, like, every time I hear a Panic song, I'm like, oh, of course we're talking about sex workers again. What else have we been talking about?
Yeah.
For Fall Out Boy, I don't know why, but I always thought it was, like, I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think that this makes it okay. But to me, when I was a teenager listening to it, it was like violence toward a specific person and not like all of the female gender.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he doesn't like her because she broke his heart or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, probably doesn't make it okay. But I don't know. It was, for me, it wasn't like, oh, I hate girls. It was just like, oh, they're, but also I'm kind of twisted. So.
No, I mean, that, like, I agree, like, I think that is not victimless, like, the violence towards women, but I also, like, see what you're saying, and I like, kind of agree. It's like, if I never listened to, like, a song about violence toward a person and be like, yeah, I agree, I want to fuck shit up. But, like,
I want to kill you and strangle you. You look so good in blue.
Yeah. But, like, when I listen to songs that are, like, very clearly, like, directed towards a person, and I can relate to them, I'm also very clearly thinking about a person, rather than, like, just, like, a whole gender, you know?
Yeah.
But
Like,
I think what I'm saying is that it is part of an attitude. Like, do I truly believe that Pete Wentz, like, would ever really hurt a woman? Not really. But do I know that, like, there are little white boys who listen to music about hurting women and, like, it's just an attitude. Like, an attitude of, like, you hurt me, and so that means that I get to hurt you physically.
mm-hmm.
And, like, an entitlement that I think is just part of, like, being a white guy. Like, entitlement to not have your feelings hurt ever because you're entitled to a woman. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fair criticism for sure.
Yeah.
Although, also not unique in music, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, again, I don't want to be too, like, speculative about, like, their internal lives and stuff, but I think there's definitely an element of, like you were saying, like, edginess. Yeah. Like, if we write a song about strangling my girlfriend, ergo, then, like,
and
that's
like,
edgy.
Like Shelby was saying earlier, it's, like, almost like when you write a song about hating women, that is your way into pop punk.
Cough, cough, misery business.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's like, when Paramore blew up, it was because of Misery Business, which was about hating a specific woman.
Yeah. Also, the other thing is that, I just want to reflect on just how much misogyny is, like, part of the scene. I'm sorry. And always has been, and was since the 90s. But, like, the other thing is that, emo is a term that was applied a lot to Fall Out Boy and definitely to Panic and Paramore, whether they wanted it to or not. And I think that they are grown people. They're old. And so when you're, like, a 25-year-old man with a bunch of 12-year-olds calling you emo because you write about your feelings, a really good way to balance out the fact that you're sad and you're heartbroken is to go to violence, because it makes it more masculine. So it's also just the covering up, basically. Like, I can't write this song about how I'm heartbroken and not say that I want to, like, kill somebody, because then I'm just an emo boy, like, I'm a little sad boy. So, like, it's just another function of protecting masculinity more than it is, like, actually an actual intention of hurting someone. But, you know.
But that is also harmful, right?
Yeah.
Masculinity sucks, yeah.
And I think, I mean, when we talk about, like, Fall Out Boy, we can talk about, like, you know, what are they writing about, but I think part of it, too, is that, like, if you're not big into, like, drugs, or you're not big into, like, I don't know, Good Charlotte wrote a lot of songs about being poor, at least when they first started, and so if you're not really on that, like, what do you write about, you know? Eventually they get to the point where they're writing a lot about, like, being famous, but before that, it's like, well, I'm really sad and my girlfriend broke up with me, so I guess I'll write about that, you know, which, again, is not an excuse, but it's a way to inject, like, edge into your music, is to be violent about those things, because otherwise, what are you? You're just a sad boy singing about sad things. Yeah. Which is exactly what you were saying.
Me.
And certainly writing songs and playing music is a way better coping mechanism than actually hurting people.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just It does definitely like leave an impression, I guess.
I would not say it's victimless.
Yeah.
It's also, like, has been a really amazing thing in my life, but also it's not victimless.
Yeah.
Okay, so we gotta get back on track.
Vice of the Virtues.
Got a lot of really great songs on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
It's
agreed.
a shorter album, too, honestly.
Yeah, it is. Only 10. Only 10 songs. And a couple of them.
We're making that one second, is that right? Are we deciding that?
No, we are not. The only thing we've decided so far is that Pretty Odd is at the bottom of the list.
For your guys' list, yeah.
Okay, Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die. So, to be completely honest, I skip, like, most of these songs, except for the singles, which is so basic.
I don't think I've heard all of these. I have heard This Is Gospel, Miss Jackson. I may have heard Vegas Lights.
Okay.
I've heard Nicotine, and I've heard Girls, Girls, Boys. I don't really remember Girls, Girls, Boys.
Oh, I love that one.
I know you do.
Why? What does that mean? Bye! Everybody says I love Girls, Girls, Boys. The fuck?
Acoustic or like ukulele covers of that song, and they're way better than the original song.
Girls, 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 Boys.
It's really produced, isn't it?
Probably. It's Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Good point.
What are they if not they're pretty odd?
Produced at the disco.
I don't think I've heard any of the rest of them. Oh, I think I've heard of The End of All Things, which I actually really like.
That I haven't heard. What is that?
It's like really slow and like it's like Brendan Urie harmonizing with himself. I don't know.
I think I've heard it a couple times.
I don't know how the rest of it goes. It's kind of good actually.
It's interesting because I don't think of Girls, Girls, Boys as super produced, but I can absolutely see how that would be much better with a ukulele.
Well, I mean, I guess compared to just a YouTuber with an ukulele, it's
more fitting. More fitting, I would say.
Yeah.
To be playing with a ukulele, yeah.
I think, you know what I think it is? I think it's like he's belting the whole time, but you don't need to. You could just, if I was playing ukulele, it'd be a lot more effective. Both. That's the point of the song!
No, I meant like in that order. Is it both orders?
I don't
But
know.
but there's like a preference, right? But like you choose one, right?
Oh, I thought she was serious. I was like, what?
But like, if you end up with a girl, you're a lesbian.
I think you're just confused.
And if you end up with a boy, you're straight. So like, what's the point? Miss Jackson is...
Fox.
Well, it's the sex worker song.
Yeah. Damn it. Every time.
Yep.
That's a good song.
I also love This Is Gospel, and I love both versions, and I can't really pick.
There's two versions?
Well, there's the official album version, but then there's the piano cover that Brendan Urie did.
Oh.
That is very beautiful, and they're both so good, and I can't, like, pick one. I like the original album version because it's very, like, it's got really great, like, techno beats, right? That made me sound, like, so white. But the piano really showcases his vocal
ability.
range, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is Gospel does remind me of, like, Phoebe Gets Let Out a little bit. So
Yeah.
I like it that way.
Nicotine does not remind me of any of their previous work, but I like it. Like, it's not something that I would pick to listen to all the time, but, like, when I do listen to it, I'm reminded, like, I kind of like this. It's, like, it's kind of punny.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, suffice to say that I've only listened to, like, half the songs on this album.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I will sometimes listen to Casual Affair, but after that, I pretty much skip the rest of the album, which is only 3 more songs, but...
Yeah. The End of All Things is, like, kind of good.
I recognize as you describe it, but I can't remember, like, how it goes or anything.
It's, like, not something you'd listen to, like, it doesn't belong in, like, Bob's Jams Groove Bangers, you know? It belongs maybe in, like, your crying playlist.
Okay.
Because that's just, like...
everybody has a crying playlist, right?
What? She's fucking fire and air over there, and we're just two water signs sitting here with our crying playlist. I don't know if you have a crying playlist.
I don't, but it's more because of emotional avoidance than because I don't need one, because I probably should have one.
Period.
So yeah. Anyway. Alright, so 4 albums, right?
Yes. I mean, I think this is pretty, like, easy to rank them, but I don't know.
I need to look. I know. I
Katie
feel like...
might disagree with us, Shelby.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think I know where you guys are going. My problem is just my number 1 is, like... No. God, it has to be But if I was like, my number one is pretty odd.
You're funny. Well, so I can put the other one. What's the third one? The fourth one called?
Too Weird to Live.
That one's number 3, yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. It's got some things on there. Okay, yeah. A Fever You Can't Sweat Out is number 1.
Okay, good. Shelby, you agree?
Well...
Shut up.
I don't know what else she would put. She's like, a Paramore album
It's
is
kind of
better.
the only album by Panic! At the Disco that I really would listen to.
Yeah, that's why I was like, it's gotta be that. I mean, there are a lot of songs on Vices and Virtues that I really like, but I think in terms of, like, skippables, there are more, and there's just something really, like, the serotonin.
Yeah.
And the Fever You Can't Sweat Out. It's real, man.
It goes so hard.
It goes so hard.
Every song.
And, like, I think this is always happening with me just because I cannot understand a word any of these people are saying. But I'm always figuring out new things, you know?
Oh, yeah,
When I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh, fuck, I forgot about that part. Or, like, I knew the lyrics to this at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I need to remind myself what he's saying because I don't know what the fuck this man is saying because it's unintelligible.
And you end up, like, relearning it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the songs that I'm, like, about, like, I constantly thank God for Esteban.
I love that song.
Still,
I
like,
think I love that song.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, count the number of times that I fuck up the lyrics while we're doing
Like
this podcast.
every other line, bud.
Oh, God. Okay.
Alright!
We got our panic ranking.
Wow, everything else is going to be so much harder. Usually our podcasts are like 3 hours long. So.
If
Yeah.
we're gonna make this a whole Panic! At the Disco podcast, I have way more to say. So
I think we should move
decide.
on.
Wait, really?
Well, maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, you're allowed. I'm just curious.
Get your ideas in now, because if we're moving on.
Yeah, you're right. Probably will never do this again. I just think it's crazy. I think Brendan Urie is really talented, but I also think that he could be complimented by some other people sometimes. Does that make sense?
Like, he should get some other bandmates.
Like, people need to fucking rein that guy in.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. I don't know who. I don't know. I don't know who. Somebody maybe.
It does seem a little. I've said this for a while since everyone else left the band. To me, it seems kind of strange to call yourself Panic! At the Disco when it's just one
you.
person.
Yeah.
Like, I find that very odd.
I don't understand.
Not pretty
You
odd.
might even say pretty odd.
No, very odd.
I'm wondering if it's like a monetary thing.
Probably.
Like, it's easier to market Panic! At the Disco rather than just Brendan Urie.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, what is the Venn diagram of people who like Panic! At the Disco and don't know that Brendan Urie is the lead singer? Is it really that high? I mean, probably, maybe.
That's funny.
I don't know. You're like on TikTok. What's it like on TikTok?
It's like
on
Gen
TikTok.
Xers. It's not the teenagers. It's like Gen Xers. It's like the old people.
There's
They're
old
like,
people that
oh,
listen
yeah,
to Panic! At the Disco. Oh, okay.
I used to play them back when I went to clubs in 2006.
Yeah. I still remember, I don't remember when it was or where I was, but I do remember the moment that I realized, oh, Panic! At the Disco is more popular than Fall Out Boy, because for so many years, it was the reverse. But then at some point, Fall Out Boy just kind of fell out, probably when they went on their, like, 7-year-long hiatus.
Hiatus.
Yeah, it wasn't that long, but we'll get to it.
I felt like it.
And Panic! At the Disco just kept making bops, and I feel like they've just gotten more and more popular. He has gotten more and more popular in the last few years.
I'm sure.
But anyway, okay. So wrap up on Panic! At the Disco. Yow!
The last thing I want to say is that I just think that Fever You Can't Sweat Out, like, I understand that it's a hard act to follow.
Yeah.
But no album will ever, I can't imagine they could ever release anything else. He could ever release anything else that would compare. That's what I think. Musically.
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote the music.
And, like, I feel like a lot of it is probably nostalgia, so there's probably, like, a degree of, like, unfairness there. But also...
It's also just really good music.
Yeah.
Musically, it's really good. These are my opinions. They are the correct ones. Write these down.
Also, we saw Panic! At the Disco in concert
Yeah.
in 2013, and they were fabulous.
Yeah.
Excellent. I don't remember the vocal quality, but I remember that Brendan Urie did a lot of backflips.
He did, like, 3 backflips.
That was really impressive.
It was.
It was.
It was. It was really great.
And sometimes I forget that I've only seen them twice.
It was a good hype man.
Did you see them
Also-
twice?
I'm sorry, I've only seen them once, is what I meant to say.
I was like, when did
I'm sorry,
you see them
I've
again?
only seen Panic at the Disco one time in concert. Also, did you... I don't know why... Was this a dream? Am I insane? No. Fall Out Boy and Paramore toured together at one point.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did we not go? What the fuck is wrong with us?
We may have been dead.
Dead?
We
Oh.
may have been dead.
Oh. Yeah, that would have done it.
I would have. If we were dead. I can't remember if it was 2014 or 2015.
Oh,
That's
a
what I
bummer.
mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
We may have been dead.
I was definitely unwell, and also I really didn't come around to self-titled until pretty recently, so I was really bummed. Like, I was like, I do not like their new album, and you know,
That's interesting because I really liked it.
As far as Save Rock and Roll goes, I liked it. Not my favorite.
I mean, we can get into it.
Also a bit of a disappointment after a billion-year-long hiatus.
Oh my god.
So
Well, Save Rock and Roll was when we saw them in concert.
Yeah, and that was great. Like, it was good to see them, but like to go to, I think it was in San Diego or something. Maybe it was San Francisco. Monumentor, and like spend the $1 billion that it took to. I don't know. It just was like it just didn't happen.
If it ever happens again,
Yeah. Which it won't.
we will go. I mean, I was kind of bummed about the Hella Mega tour because we were like, oh, we're not going to go to that, and then COVID happened and got pushed back, and now I'm again like, I don't think I want to go to that because I don't care about Weezer. I know 2 of their songs. They probably don't even play them. And I love Green Day, but only old Green Day. And I love Fall Out Boy, but only old Fall Out Boy.
Mhm.
I don't even think I want to go, which is such a bummer.
It definitely sounds. I mean, it is
The
a good
fucking drag.
alternative to people who miss Warped Tour.
Yeah,
If you really would like to go to Warped Tour, you could. do
I'm
that.
good. I'll pass. I never went to Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on from Panic! At the Disco.
Yes.